Hi everyone, I am here to chat about iced tea steeping and give you some of my best tips and talk about a few of the new products that we have in the new spring and summer catalog for 2021. So first we're going to talk about the naturally sweet iced tea line, because this line was designed specifically for iced tea steeping and for us to be able to make a great sweet southern iced tea without having to kind of guess, how much sugar to add to the tea, because most of our teas have no added sugar. And so to make an iced tea is not hard, but you do have it kind of, everybody has a little bit of a different idea of how sweet they like their tea and how strong they like their tea. These ones are designed perfectly, in my opinion. So what they have done, there's traditional teas. I believe we have 6 flavors now. And so there's green, black, and oolong teas. And they have used whole stevia leaf in these teas for the sweetener. So there is 0 grams of sugar per serving, and there's 1 to 2 calories per serving. And they are perfectly sweet enough. And it's not that processed stevia extract, it is just the whole stevia leaf that is in here. So I find it a really, really nice sweetener. So I am going to make the naturally sweet peach black tea. This one I absolutely love. This is a new one and I just got it and it is amazing. I have always loved an iced peach tea. It has the perfect sweetness, the perfect flavor, nice big chunks of peaches in here. So, basically it just looks like a nice black tea. You can see the fruit pieces in there. And we're going to use the iced tea infusion jug. So this is the one that actually comes with the bundle. So there is a bundle for these teas. You get the jug, you get the perfect pot scoop, and you get to choose 2 of the flavors. So, oh my gosh. So the new flavors, there's a watermelon slushy and a pineapple ginger ale. Those 2, I have not tried yet. Can't wait. The new peach. And then we have a cherry oolong, a lemon black tea, and a mango green tea. So they are spectacular. The flavors are amazing. The mango, the lemon, the peach, probably my favorites so far. The cherry has excellent flavor too. I just find it a little bit sweeter than the others, and I'm not too sure why. So, okay, this jug has a long infuser that's attached to the lid, and I'm just gonna make myself a half a pot here. So I've just added half a jug of water, cold water, and I'm a cold steeper, guys. So for the most part, I'm gonna show you a fruit tea using hot water. But for the most part, you can just cold water, add your tea, throw it in the fridge overnight. Give it a good 10, 12 hours to steep, and it'll be perfect. So easy, right? So I usually use 3 scoops at the most for a full pitcher. So we're just gonna do a scoop and a half here. And I'm just gonna push my tea leaves down a little bit there, get in the water, and a cold steep works amazing. So that is all I'm gonna do. Cold water, tea, I'm throwing that in the fridge. It smells amazing. And tomorrow I've got a beautiful iced tea to drink. Okay, so that's the naturally sweet teas. Highly, highly, highly recommend them. And it's always nice to have the pitcher. I find all of my customers always tell me that once they get an iced tea steeping pitcher, they make a lot more iced teas. And they're just so much healthier than buying the iced tea powder or, having the sugary drinks in the fridge. So I'm gonna set that one aside and move on to the next one. Next, I want to talk about the fruit teas, because you can ice absolutely any tea. And if you're not into sweeter teas like these are, but you love a traditional iced tea, a nice black tea, we have an English or Irish breakfast black tea, which is a nice traditional black tea. You can steep that, add a little of your own sugar if you want to sweeten it a little bit. You can add a squeeze of lemon. I love that green tea's iced. There's all kinds of different flavors. You can ice any of them. There's a blueberry black tea, a maraschino cherry black tea, strawberry green tea. There's so many. You can have a lot of fun with that. But we're going to talk about the fruit teas next. So this is probably my most used pitcher. This is our perfect tea pitcher. This one is glass, and the difference here is that it doesn't have a steeper, so it has a strainer in the lid. So when you're gonna add your tea into the pitcher and your water or whatever else, your wine if you're making a sangria, and you're gonna let that steep, and then you're just gonna leave those tea leaves in there, because when you pour, they're gonna strain out as you pour. Okay, so we're gonna make an iced fruit tea, and the fruit teas are just infusions. We're gonna do the raspberry cosmopolitan. This one is excellent. It has so many fruits in it: apple, pineapple, orange, papaya, mango, raspberry. Everybody loves this tea. So normally to this pitcher, it's a good 2-liter pitcher, I would add 3 scoops of the fruit teas. So you can see these fruit teas have nice big chunks of fruit. Like, this is a beautiful tea. It is very pretty, and it smells good, and it tastes good too. So I think that's about all I have left here, is like exactly 3 scoops. A little bit shy, but that is okay. And with the fruit teas, since there is no actual tea in them, we're gonna use hot water. If you were using hot water with the traditional tea, black or green tea, white tea, you would have to remove those tea leaves after they've steeped for their 3-4 minutes. Otherwise it's gonna over steep and get bitter. With the fruit, you don't have to worry about it. It is just pieces of fruit. You can steep that as long as you want. So I've got my kettle here that I have boiled, and this is borosilicate glass, so you can use hot water on this thing. Excellent for steeping. Now with the fruit teas, you can do hot or cold steep method. You can do the cold steep just like I did with the other one, and I find I get just as good a flavor. But if you want a quicker pitcher or glass, you can do all of this by the glass of iced tea, then use the hot water. Let this steep for, I would give it a minimum of 20 minutes, and often I just let it sit for a couple of hours. I'll just leave it sit on the counter until it's room temperature. But for a quicker iced tea, let that steep for 10-20 minutes, and then you're gonna add in your ice and it's ready to drink. Now, whether you want to sweeten it or not, that is up to you. If some of the fruit teas I find a little more sweet than others, some of them are fairly tart. Like for example, the Berry Mania, that tea is excellent. It has really deep, strong berry flavors. It has elderberry in it. It's also healthy. But I do find it a little bit tart on its own. So to sweeten it, I just add 1 scoop of sugar. I usually keep organic cane sugar on hand for my iced teas and my drinks. 1 scoop to this entire pitcher I find is all that I need, and it just kind of amplifies the flavors too. So if you're making yourself some iced teas and you're kind of feeling like they're tasting just a little bit bland, just add in a little bit of sweetener, whatever your preferred sweetener is, and you will notice that it really just sharpens up those flavors, and it might be just what you needed. Okay, so this one, I'm not gonna add any sugar to it. We're gonna let that steep for a little while, but I just wanna talk about a little bit of fun you could have with this now. So say you let that steep, you've got a nice strong concentrate here, and you can make just a pitcher of iced tea if you want, but you could also go ahead, once that cools down, you could add a bottle of wine to that, and then top it off with some frozen fruit, maybe a can of bubbly or a can of ginger ale, and you have a beautiful sangria that you can serve for happy hour. You could add sparkling water to that. You could add ginger ale to that. You can also steep your tea directly in ginger ale, sparkling water, wine. You don't necessarily have to have the water first. But I just wanted to kind of talk about that. There's lots of fun that you could have and a lot of different things that you can do. So this one, obviously I'm not gonna finish it off yet. I'm just gonna let that go ahead and steep for a while. I might just let that steep overnight, add a little more water and just throw it in the fridge overnight as well. I'll see. If the girls wanna have a drink, then maybe we'll have it a little bit sooner. But yeah, that's all you do. And then if you wanna make yourself just a nice little personal cup of iced tea, I wanna talk about the tea press, because I actually use this a lot for overnight iced tea steeping. So this tea press is just like a little coffee press. It's got the mesh on the bottom. To make your tea in here, it's like a great travel mug. To make your tea in here, you just add your tea, add your hot water, let that steep for the required amount of steeping time, 2-3 minutes. Then you're just gonna press your tea leaves down to the bottom, screw the lid on, and you can drink from it. So great travel cup. And what I do find is that it's good for all tea types. If you're using like a black tea or a green tea or something like that, I find that they don't oversteep unless it's been sitting for a couple of hours. So you can drink that for, you know, up to an hour, hour and a half, and it'll taste great. If you let that sit for 2 or 3 hours though, then it kind of starts to oversteep a little bit. But for the most part, it's great for all tea types. But to make an overnight iced tea is such a great idea. So let me see, what did I grab here? Oh yes, I have a bit of a new obsession. So the Hawaiian pineapple sangria is a new fruit tea that we have, and it is to die for. Like to die for. It has these giant chunks of pineapple in it that totally hydrate when it steeps. So yeah, it's a beautiful tea. Nice big chunks of fruit. It has pineapple, mango, apple, lemongrass, lime slices. Incredible. So I'm going to be making lots of sangrias with this one. But I just want to try it as just a nice plain iced tea, nothing else added. So I would probably add about 3 of my cup scoops of the tea, I think, to my pitcher here, or to my tea press. And oh yeah, there's nice big chunks of lime in here. It is so pretty. And it smells so good, and you can like totally just like eat the fruit pieces if you want to. So good. Okay, and then cold water. So I'm just gonna fill it up. And I did this the other day with using one of the naturally sweet teas, the peach tea. It was perfect. I think I used 2 scoops, 2 of these cup scoops. Let that sit in the fridge overnight. And then in the morning, press it down, and there you go. You've got a nice iced tea to drink at work or wherever, on the road or in your office, downstairs, wherever you're going. All right, so there's just a few simple iced teas for you. It really doesn't have to be hard. I know a lot of people get intimidated by the process of steeping iced teas. The only thing really to remember where you can really go wrong is if you oversteep your traditional teas, like a black, white, green, oolong, or pu'er tea. If you're using hot water and you steep them for too long, they're going to become bitter and not taste good. But you can be totally safe by just doing the cold steep method, which is pretty easy and pretty foolproof. And so yeah, so those are my 2 favorite pitchers. If you want something that is really going to be durable and last you forever, this is definitely the one you want, the iced tea infusion pitcher. It is made out of Triton, so it's a hard BPA-free plastic. I've had this one for 4 years now, and like it's never had a crack or anything. You could throw this thing against the wall and it won't break. This one, on the other hand, beautiful. I love making my sangrias in here, and I do use it a lot, but it is a little bit delicate. So it's glass. You do have to be a little bit careful with that one. All right. I hope I gave you some good tips, and definitely just let me know if you have any questions or if you ever want any recommendations on any of the tea flavors. I've definitely tried all of the fruit teas and just a couple of the naturally sweet teas that I don't have yet, but I am always here to answer your questions. All right, thanks guys.